Water is the most common substance found on Earth. 69% of the fresh water on Earth is trapped in glaciers. 30% of fresh water is in the ground. 1.7% of the world's water is frozen and unusable. Nearly 400 billion gallons of water are used in the US every day. 1/2 of that water is used for thermoelectric power generation. Water can dissolve most substances than any other liquid, including sulfuric acid. The freezing point of water lowers as the amount of salt dissolved in it increases. With average levels of salt, seawater freezes at -2 degrees centigrade. About 6,800 gallons of water is required to grow a day's food for a family of 4. To create 1 pint of beer, it takes 20 gallons of water. 780 million people lack access to an improved water source. In just one day, 200 million work hours are consumed by women collecting water for their families. Unsafe water kills 200 children every hour. It takes 120 gallons of water for 1 egg. A jellyfish and a cucumber are each 95% water. 70% of the human brain is water. In Nairobi, the urban poor pay 10 times more for water than in New York. 40 billion hours are spent collecting water in Africa alone. A person can live about a month without food, but only about a week without water. Water expands by 9% when it freezes. There is about the same amount of water on Earth now as there was millions of years ago. Children in the first 6 months of life consume 7 times as much water per pound as the average adult. Americans drink more than 1 billion glasses of tap water per day. 85% of the world population lives in the driest half of the planet. Agriculture accounts for 70% of global freshwater withdrawals. 300 tons of water are required to manufacture 1 ton of steel. Americans use 5.7 billion gallons per day for toilet flushes. It takes about 12 gallons per day to sustain a human, like drinking, sanitation and food production. We lose a little more than a cup of water when we exhale. By 2025, half the world's people will live in countries with high water stress. It takes more than twice the amount of water to produce coffee than it does tea. Over 90% of the world's supply of fresh water is located in Antarctica. Water regulates the Earth's temperature. It takes about 70 gallons of water to fill a bathtub. Water use has grown at more than twice the rate of population increase in the last century. 65% of freshwater withdrawals in China are used for agriculture. There are no scientific studies that support the recommendation to drink 8 glasses of water per day. And drinking too much water can be fatal. It's known as water intoxication. there is more fresh water in the atmosphere than in all of the rivers on the planet combined. There is an estimated 326 million trillion gallons of water on Earth. NASA has discovered water in the form of ice on the Moon. 1 gallon of wine requires 1,008 gallons of water. 1 slice of bread requires 11 gallons of water. 1 pound of chocolate requires 3,170 gallons of water. Water is the only substance found on Earth naturally that has 3 forms: solid, liquid, and gas. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. Water vaporizes at 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. 66% of the human body is water. 97% of all the Earth's water is in the oceans or seas. Only 1% of the Earth's water is suitable as drinking water.